Okay, here we go. This is how I'm talking. This is test time. Talkies.
This is talk time, testy, testy. I got a couple of churros in my hands. Let's get to eating. Well, hello there. Welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by my co-host, Ryan, my partner.
I'm pumping!
You pumping balls?
I'm fucking pumping!
I'm going to need everyone to grab a couple of churros or a banana, depending on what you have at hand, and come on down to the match because we are uncovering the 2024 brand new film Challengers.
Whatever your phallic snack of choice is.
It could be a hot dog.
Could be a hot dog.
A popsicle.
Has to be cylindrical, long, and have some kind of, connotation about it. It's
Anything can have a connotation if you really give it a shot.
Yeah, well, like the previous film, like a peach, that has a connotation. But I would also say that, it has to be the sort of snack
phallic.
that if you eat it a certain way and you're looking at someone in someone's direction, it might make them feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Well, that's a churro or banana, which makes sense of this film.
Has anyone ever eaten a churro, to the point of making someone feel uncomfortable, though?
I'm sure.
Slid it into their mouth, got it all nice and wet.
Or shared it with your best pal.
Yeah, like Lady and the Tramp it, Lady and the Tramp churros.
I'm into that.
Really?
I like that.
All right, well, maybe when we go on vacation, we can try a Lady and the Tramp churro experience.
That sounds great. I'm really excited.
Yeah, good.
And it's weird because Wikipedia calls this a romantic sports film, but I would go as far, not too far, to call this a romantic thriller.
Okay, I guess so. It's helped in most part by the big fat bassy music from the Nine Inch Nails boys.
From Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross?
Yes. I know
I said it during the film because we watched an advanced screening of Challengers, and it was in an RPX theater.
Yeah.
Which it immediately started. I go, are we just going to feel tennis balls and feel the seats move every time a tennis ball hits the ground or someone hits a tennis ball? But it was mostly just that thumping bass.
It's that thumping fat bass.
It reminded me of Fight Club in the way that you could put that on and just dance around.
I guess.
I said that during the screening and you didn't agree with me.
No. Well, I think I was thinking too literally. I was like, come on, Laura. These
just
people.
The feeling of it.
These people know what they're doing.
Because I love the Fight Club score. The soundtrack is very fun.
Yeah, I guess Challengers
with it.
has that Fincher connection because of the Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. But they've done other films other than the Finchers.
Of course, well, they also worked on Luca's last movie, Bones and All.
Oh, okay.
So they did the score for that one.
Okay.
If you didn't know, this is part 2 of Luca Guadagnino, the boy, the legend.
Yes.
Maybe one of my favorites. It's turning that way. But
okay.
Anyway, the synopsis from Letterboxd for Challengers is: tennis player turned coach Tashi has taken her husband Art and transformed him into a world-famous Grand Slam champion. To jolt him out of his recent losing streak, she signs him up for a challenger event, close to the lowest level of pro tournament, where he finds himself standing across the net from his former best friend and Tashi's former boyfriend. Yep.
Yes.
There you go.
Sparks will fly.
As will balls.
As synopsises go, that's not too bad. Yeah, if you weren't aware, this is a tennis movie. This is a tennis sports movie following in the rather humble footsteps of... This is way better
in the humble footsteps Oh, hold on. Tell your joke before I tell my joke.
This
Sorry.
is way better than Match Point.
Yeah.
And Match Point was a Woody Allen movie, right? That
It
Scarlett
was.
Johansson thing.
It sure was. Jonathan Rhys Meyers, I believe.
What was the other one?
There's so many. There's Wimbledon.
Yeah, there you go. Was that the Kirsten Dunst one?
Yes.
Right.
With
there
Paul
we go.
Bettany.
With Paul Bettany.
That movie is very good.
Jesus Christ. It can't be.
It
It
is.
just can't be.
That is a very good romantic comedy. Ask any person that likes romantic comedies.
Okay. Is there any other tennis movie?
There is, because there's a weird, and I didn't write this down, so I don't have all the facts in front of me, all the movies.
Oh,
but
Jesus.
there's the Peter Parker Mary Jane connection also. Have you noticed that on the social medias recently,
No.
Ryan?
No, I
Because
haven't.
you've got Kirsten Dunst, and I guess
I'm very rarely on the social medias. I find the internet, or at least my social medias, is just full of you'd think everyone and their auntie is parading around with their giant tits and going, "What does I look like in this lingerie?" It's like, well, I don't know. Like, this is it's getting tiresome now. It's weird. And then obviously you have people interviewing people on the streets late at night, giving them inspirational quotes, asking them what their dab is, all this fucking shit.
maybe
So-
it's more of just a Mary Jane thing, because Emma Stone
yeah.
was also in a tennis movie.
What tennis movie was that?
Damn it. Why are you asking me so many specifics?
I want these informations. I was just like,
gosh.
Jesus Christ, what's going on here? So Kirsten Dunst was definitely in a tennis movie.
Yes,
Emma
she was in Wimbledon. Emma Stone was in Battle of the Sexes, which was like a jokey comedy tennis film.
Right, okay.
And then obviously Zendaya.
is in this one.
Is in this
Is
one.
in Challengers. I will say, with,
You know what it was? It was a weird thing with like the boys, all the Peter Parkers being in these war movies, and all
Yes.
the Mary Janes being in the tennis movies. That was the joke. The boys weren't in tennis movies.
So what war movie was Tobey Maguire in? Was it that
There was
Brothers
that Brothers
movies?
movie.
I like that movie. Yeah, my Jake, the Jake Gyllenhaal,
Yeah, Jake.
Natalie Portman movie.
That movie's awesome.
Tobey Maguire. Yeah, it's real good. It's same guy who did that 50 Cent movie, Get Rich or Die
He's
Trying.
gonna have me doing research on the fly.
I guess so. I'm sorry. I just woke up from a really long nap, so my brain is like going at 1,000 miles an hour. As far as like tennis movies go, tennis itself, sometimes I do find it fun.
Jim Sheridan
Yeah, there you go, Jim Sheridan.
directed Brothers.
He did, and he also did Get Rich or Die Trying, which was we were also when we said that we're just like, wow, this kind of white Irishman doing this
I liked both of those movies.
inherently quite black story. It was odd. Anyway, the only times I've ever enjoyed watching tennis has been, well, it was when Andy Murray was in the Wimbledon final. That was one of the few times I've actually enjoyed it. Wimbledon can be fun. At least the matches in this film are actually quite well put together and paced. And the sound design, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
at one point I was writing notes and I wasn't paying attention, and one of them hit a fucking tennis ball and it gave me a fright.
The tennis ball went right towards the camera, and I didn't realize that you got a fright at the time, but the woman next to me audibly was afraid. She gasped and she moved as if the tennis ball was actually coming at her. This is not a 3D experience,
Yes.
but it was very effective for the audience.
It was not a 3D experience. It did feel like an extra sensory experience.
Yeah, because of
but
all the vibration.
the only thing I would say, and it would probably be like a little knock against it, is that the ball coming towards the camera trope, it got a little bit tiresome after a while. I was like, oh, here comes a ball coming towards the camera. There is one instance where it goes into slow motion. You see a close up of the tennis ball, and I was like, that looks a little bit like shit when you look at the fibers on the tennis ball.
Didn't bother me at all.
Yes.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, it didn't, to me, didn't look great. But that really doesn't kind of take you away from the fact that this is a big beats extravaganza. Like the music really lends a sense of of style and identity to this film. It's insane, yeah, and the soundtrack's very good, like very, very good.
Yeah, I put it on while I was doing dishes and preparing for this podcast.
It pumps you up.
I was dancing.
Yeah.
I felt great. So you were saying, Ryan, that you weren't and aren't maybe particularly into tennis, and neither was the man who wrote the screenplay, Justin Kuritzkis, who said that he got the idea from that 2018 match between Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka, where apparently Serena got a call, like a penalty for getting coaching from the sidelines.
Okay.
And I don't know rules about tennis, but apparently that is against the rules.
Yes.
And he said he thought about how in tennis, you're all alone on your side of the court. And what if you needed to talk to someone on the other side or get coaching? Or what if you had to have a conversation with someone that was really burdening you that's like in the audience or something.
Yes.
And you can't do it and you're just alone and you're playing this game for a really long time.
Yes.
How would you display the tension of that particular situation? So that's how he ended up
That's interesting.
coming up with that idea.
Tennis, much like similar middle class to upper class sports, has a pretentious amount of rules and regulations.
I know nothing about
even
the
to the
rules.
point where like what they're able to wear and stuff and what kind of shoes are. It's probably not as bad as like golf, but it's as bad.
Well, I've seen Happy Gilmore. He kind of wore whatever. Are there rules?
Yeah, he was. Well, yeah, but I mean that's
they bend
not
the
really.
rules for him?
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to Happy Gilmore on an actual golf course. I don't think you're allowed
You
to
can't
do the
bring
run up.
a hockey stick.
You can't bring a hockey stick on
Chuck a
to
ball.
the no. It's,
Chip it in. To just chip it in,
yeah.
as they say.
I eat pieces of
Mario
shit
Golf.
like you for breakfast. Yeah, it's like you eat pieces of shit. It's like whoa.
That's a great line from Happy Gilmore.
It is, yeah. I like Happy Gilmore.
That's
I don't
a
know why
great
we're
one.
talking about it now, but there's quite a. I'd say it's quite a kind of like a staunch. It's very kind of upper crusty. That's all I've kind of ever felt about tennis in general. It's this kind of this sophisticated game.
I've never cared, and I still don't care about tennis, but I do like some tennis movies.
I think in terms of they've got this romantic thriller drama thing going on. I think tennis, they do a good job of making the tennis the perfect backdrop for the characters and their rivalry and their I guess the way that all this threesome kind of ties together, and the history that they all have together. Because effectively, the film is a jumpy, timey-wimey sort of thing.
But don't worry, you can check out Zendaya's hair if you don't know exactly where you are in time, if you forget. So the
Yes.
shorter it is,
The shorter
the
is
more present you are.
the older she is. Yes,
Absolutely.
which I don't know seems to be the way. I don't know. Is that kind of how you would define like women getting older? Is that
The
their
hair gets shorter?
Their hair gets shorter.
I don't want to. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I do know that there's a lot of grandmas out there with short hair.
There are, yeah. It's like I don't know. Is it easier to maintain just having shorter hair?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then they get accused of being Karens because they've got their fucking short ass hair. And it's like, oh,
Potentially. Grandmas
like,
usually aren't.
you look
though.
like you're about to cause some problems. You're about to complain to a manager.
Oh dear.
But yes.
So this film was originally meant to open the 2023 Venice Film Festival, but they pulled it, like the filmmakers pulled it a month before the festival because of the SAG-AFTRA strike.
Oh, of course.
And a film called Comandante replaced Challengers as the opening night film.
Wow.
I have not seen that film.
No,
Nope.
I've not even heard of it. There are thousands of films out there that we've not seen.
Oh, at
yeah,
least.
at least. But yes, okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. This film's now going, and it's been doing the rounds for a while, and As of this recording, it hasn't been released yet. I think it doesn't come out till the 26th of April, I think.
It comes out the day before my birthday, which is April 27th. And I tell you, every single year I am blessed with an awesome film that comes out on my birthday weekend on a regular basis.
What was it last year?
Shit. Last year, I don't remember. But I do know the year before was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which I really liked. And
we went to go see that in the cinema.
We were the only ones there, I think.
We were the only ones there.
I had my large free popcorn, and I had a great time. And the other ones that stood out for me were Forgetting Sarah Marshall and I Love You, Man also came out on my birthday weekend.
Right, okay. I see.
In the past.
In the past.
Often it's a Nicolas Cage film, which I'm pretty stoked about.
Okay.
But this year is this one, which is even better. Honestly, loved it.
Yeah.
Spoilers for the end of the podcast. I was reading about this film, and apparently Tim Chalamet and Austin Butler were considered for the role of Art before Mike Faist got the role. And I don't even think I said who's in this movie. Let me just go back. Zendaya plays Tashi Duncan. Josh O'Connor plays Patrick. And Mike Faist plays Art. Which I didn't recognize Art from anything. I've seen Josh O'Connor before.
I liked the fact that we were presented with a couple of actors who hadn't really seen in anything before, because they are an absolute treat.
Mike Faist was wonderful. Apparently, he was in West Side Story.
Okay, yeah, a film I have
not
yet.
seen that either.
The Spielberg-y one.
The Spielberg-y one?
Yeah, okay.
And Josh O'Connor, I've seen that guy's penis before in another movie that we have not covered on this podcast yet called Mothering Sunday.
Okay.
So
I didn't recognize any of them. The most recognizable face is obviously Zendaya. Like, she's... But she's Zendaya? Mm-hmm. It's not Zendaya.
No.
I am also foreign.
Friends of Zendaya call her Z, I've noticed. But we're not her friends, so.
Well, the thing is, it's gonna end up getting into Prince territory. You know what I mean? Where she then just ends up being like a symbol, and the symbol's like a Z with like a horizontal cross through it or something. It's gonna get odd probably for her.
I don't.
But anyway, no, she's the most recognizable player in the piece. But it's refreshing. It's refreshing to see her in stuff like this. Now, this is obviously, people are going to be like, you fucking idiot. But like, I haven't really seen an awful lot of, Christ, what's
Euphoria.
that? Euphoria. Like,
I knew you were going there because I'm like, if
it.
you haven't seen her in a role like this, and this isn't like Euphoria at all, but if you want to see her do some dark shit, nothing that she does in this movie is dark.
No.
But if you want to
really.
see her do something different than Mary Jane, MJ.
Yeah,
then
either Spider-Man or the Disney Channel stuff.
I don't know about any of that, but...
Or Disney Channel stuff?
Correct.
I don't know about any of it either.
I know
haven't
she
got a
did it.
clue.
I
Well,
know that's her origin story.
Yeah, well, she's just there with a litany of other prominent stars and actors, from Miley Cyrus to Shia LaBeouf. Like, they all kind of ended
Gosling.
up. Ryan Gosling was in the Disney.
He was a Disney boy.
Holy shit! Right. Okay. So he did fine then. But yeah, like, she's the most recognizable face, at least to me. But the thing was that I went into the film completely unaware of what it was or what it was going to be. I did get from the posters and from the initial kind of clips and stuff that they put out there that there was a throuple that was going to happen. There was some kind of element of a throuple.
Hell yeah.
And you're not disappointed. But the thing is that I just did not recognize the two main guys, and I will say 100% like their relationship, and it's something that I quite like in a movie, which is like a best friends rivalry, best friends not friends anymore, but like deep down they're always going to be friends because they always challenge each other. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Akira.
Adorable.
Yeah, where it was, if anyone's familiar with the anime, if that's anything that they're into.
Nerds.
The very heart of that story is the relationship between Kaneda and Tetsuo and how they fight themselves to the death. Understandably so, but deep down it's like they are friends and they will always be friends. Even though they know that they have to fight each other at some point, which is kind of what Challengers kind of is.
Wow, Ryan, look at you.
Which is weird,
Holy
right?
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you liked it so much. You go, this is like Akira.
The thing is that the way that their relationship is 100%, it is on point. Like, it is...
Is it a match point?
It is, oh dear. It is perfectly depicted in this film. It is, and they are so incredibly charismatic in this film.
They really are.
Certainly the guy who plays Zweig, he is great.
Josh O'Connor is amazing.
The Art and Patrick's relationship in this movie, it comes close to outshining Zendaya. I
think that they do, and I think that's a really important part of it, is that their relationship is so strong and it has such a deep roots.
Yeah, it transcends
vagina.
Pretty much, yeah. Like these two divining rods come together in a docking station sort of situation. And it just fucking works,
Yeah, it does. They're great together. They had about 6 weeks before filming to do tennis training, and they also did a lot of rehearsal ahead of time. I think that's a big Luca thing.
Right.
He's really into rehearsal and stuff.
Yeah.
So they had the time, and I guess, what is his name? Mike and Josh would go out together and run lines together and hang out together. They filmed it in Boston, so I don't know if that was where they were also rehearsing, but it might have been. But they had the time to work on that. I mean, Zendaya was there as well, and she also got to kind of work with them and create that base of their charisma and their relationship. And
yeah. Well, Zendaya, her character at least, is an outsider for the most part. She kind of is always on the fringes of these men's lives.
They've been friends since they were little kids. I mean, there's the part of the movie. But
the thing is that her character Tashi is cut from a different cloth. She is a tennis pro from a young age who transcends the tennis sport, so to speak. It's like she doesn't just live and breathe tennis. It is as important to her as oxygen is. Like, that's how she sees tennis, and that it's this kind of passionate, this passionate vocation. Like, it's the thing that makes her tick, and she does not stop talking about tennis. So for her, so I always see her in kind of like this elevated position. And if she isn't doing anything in regards to either playing tennis or being associated with tennis,
talking about tennis, coaching people,
she is not fucking interested, in the very least. And you do find that because of that, her inherent nature, and certainly the way that she behaves through the course of the story, she comes across incredibly cold, and I do think that she is a little bit manipulative, and I think she definitely plays it to the strengths that she's looking for. But I just think overall, it just makes for a very interesting, menage a trois.
I think it's interesting that you point her out as being potentially a bit manipulative when each of these characters start off very classically not pure necessarily, but on a neutral zone and a neutral plane. And then once a romance is kind of introduced is where everyone starts pulling on these strings. And
I do
it's
think
not
she's
just her, but to
no.
be fair, Art,
She's the puppet master, though. I think she's definitely
not
like
as
the
much as she wants
arbiter.
to be, but I think that's an interesting thing about it is that they're all really quite codependent.
Yeah,
And it really kind of sets the whole thing gets set off because of I mean, you could put it back to where they have their little sexy time,
they're little
which
kisses.
we'll go back to that, but
Yeah,
when Art realizes that he wants to be with her and he doesn't want Patrick to be with her. And so
Yeah.
he kind of sets in motion that discussion where he doesn't love you and you know, that kind of thing a little bit later on. But
yeah. I don't think she's. The thing is like she sets them up like immediately in that she won't give them their number because she refers to herself as a homewrecker,
she doesn't want to be a homewrecker.
and she's like she knows exactly what she's like. That's the thing. Like she knows indefinitely like what sort of person she is.
It's so funny. Like when the boys first meet Tashi and they're so enamored and they can't take their eyes off her and they finally both decide to talk to her. I'm thinking these are two walking boners just coming in to ruin this woman's life who
Yeah.
is starting off a career. She's trying to go to Stanford and play tennis, but then she's also going to go pro and she has her whole life and career in front of her. And these two boners
Yeah.
come in and it's hilarious. It's very entertaining. But then it flips, right? To where she comes in and I go, oh no, she's the one that's going to ruin their lives. But
Yeah.
then it's all kind of, I think it all ends up being quite equal into them all being
Yeah.
the arbiters of their own destruction in
Exactly,
a way.
yeah. Because as time goes on, yeah, you do see that like the passion that they have for tennis, like it never diminishes because they just live and breathe the sport, but it is slowly but surely it is the arbiter of their own destruction, is their passion for the sport.
Because, yeah, like you were saying, that Tashi said she called herself a homewrecker, but she said over and over again
Yeah.
that she didn't want to be a homewrecker, yet in the same breath pits the two boys against each other in their one-on-one match
Yeah.
and says whoever wins gets my number. So she just sets them up for this immediately.
Yes.
Um,
She's also younger at this point as well. Like she's about to go to college.
she's 18 years old.
Yes. So she's, you know, I think what begins as a bit of fun does devolve into quite an emotional roller coaster.
I do want to talk about this.
You know, that takes about, you know, 15 or 20 years. Because again, this is timey-wimey, jumpy wumpy sort of story, which is something, again, I quite like. It's that the way that it's been written is that it is juxtaposed against their current challenger match at this current tournament. So it goes from each of the sets, I think 1 to 3, and then it gets pushed into a tie-break situation as well. And you can see the parallels between the whatever way the match set or the match point goes and what character it favors, depending on like the emotional arc that's kind of being depicted in the rest of the scenes of the story, which I quite liked.
Yeah, it is pretty clever to have a story that does time jump back and forth constantly, to have it be also linear and pushing the story forward.
Yes.
You're never going back and feeling like you're going back. You're always pushing forward, even though you're going back in time, which was great. So it was never redundant or confusing. It was just, it worked. I do want to talk about this threesome scene, and I know that there's not a penis in this part.
There is not, no.
But I do like it a lot. And it was very interesting watching it's rare. I feel like these days it's quite rare to have kind of a sensual, erotic film out there in the theater. And as a wide release. This movie's pretty intense.
Yes.
Pretty sexy times. But there's no sex in this movie.
Yeah, the fact that Zendaya's in it is that it's going to be immediately in the mainstream relatively quite quickly. I mean, the audience that we were in and we were a part of were, for the most part, was mostly kind of like, it was young women who were in the audience.
Some women dressed like they were going to go play tennis, which I thought was funny.
Some did, yes. But you can tell, like, the audience was there were there because of the Zendaya casting. Like, 100%. They were there because Zendaya's in this movie. So it's immediately going to be in the mainstream. But I would agree that, like, yes, this film has a lot of sensuality around it. And this threesome scene, which begins more like a conversation in their grotty hotel room.
Yeah.
After they've been drinking. And this is the night before they have their one-on-one where she's like, whoever wins gets my phone number, basically.
Right.
But this is where all the publicity shots and stuff center around is this technically, in inverted commas, threesome scene. But it is mostly just kissing. It's where most of like
it's 100% kissing. There's only kissing.
It's only kissing. There's a boner, but
there's a boner.
But like it's all.
I could talk about that for an hour.
Yeah, but there's all this build up. Where they're like sharing stories.
That's like the foreplay. All of this sexy stuff is foreplay. Yeah. And I think that's what they were trying to do as well, is like that's the foreplay and the tennis is the sex.
Yes.
Of this film. Because again, there's not really any sex in this film, but that part...
There's plenty of sensuality.
That part I said in my head when they were about to make out, I thought, looks like we're negotiating a threesome. I was thinking about Get Him to the Greek. Do you remember that part?
I think so.
It's great.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember that movie that much. All I remember from Get Me to the Greek is, or Get Him to the Greek is the Jeffrey.
The Jeffrey and the fuzzy walls.
Yeah, the Jeffrey.
The furry walls.
I want to say the Jeffrey.
That movie's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. It's not bad, that movie. They start talking about like where Patrick's like, I taught Art how to jerk off.
When they were 12 years old.
And he's like, well, hold on. You showed him how. Like how did he do it?
I loved that she asked every question that I also had in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you show him? What do you mean exactly? Please explain piece by piece what you're talking about.
This needs to be explained.
Yeah,
it's like we can't move on until you explain it. Yeah.
That was it was adorable and weird.
Because like I bring that up because like no one ever showed me how to jerk off. I figured it out.
But it's interesting. Yeah, I mean,
I think
same.
You have to. Yeah, you just, things start to
change.
Things start to go in motion.
You're not in boarding school. So like these boys were, where you're in a bunk. And
I was always alone at the weekends.
Okay.
And there's softcore porn on the TV.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
On Channel 4.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
Or no, Channel 5, sorry. It was, who, oh God, it's, who's the lead singer of Kiss? What's his name again?
Oh, my God.
Gene Simmons, right?
Gene Simmons.
Yeah, Gene Simmons. His wife, Shannon Tweed, is in a bunch of softcore porn movies that is an impressionable 11, 12-year-old boy had a big effect on me.
I hope my mother never listens to this.
Oh dear.
But I remember USA Up All Night Gilbert Gottfried, and I wasn't into Gilbert Gottfried, but they had like all those kind of sexy shows.
Affleck.
I know people know what I'm talking about.
Every time I do that, you get a little tingle.
I can't.
Affleck.
Silk stockings. That's embarrassing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Let's talk about that. Yeah, because our stories are not as sensual as...
No, they're awkward as
they're
hell.
Awkward. Weird.
They're awkward as hell. And I said to you also in the movie that Zendaya is cooler, like, Tashi is cooler than I ever was and maybe ever will be at 18. More self-assured and cool. She says what she thinks. When I was 18, I was a mess.
No one is like her at 18.
No, they can't be.
Fucking way.
Way too cool.
No.
The way that she negotiates a sexy almost threesome with these dudes and then just leaves them with boners and walks away. Yeah, it is manipulative, but I loved it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yes, and can I say the part that I love so much?
Mm-hmm.
Boner slap.
Yeah, boner slap.
Art gets up and Patrick slaps his boner. Hilarious.
Yeah.
I know you guys have seen it by now, so you'll know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Amazing.
And plus, you shouldn't be listening to this episode if you haven't watched it either, because we warned you before. I told you. Like
we didn't really warn them, but they should know by now.
Well, they should know by now. This is like episode 70 whatever. 70. You know, it's crazy.
6?
Yeah. Anyway, I told you, which is what he has on that T-shirt.
Boner slap. I meant to look up what that meant, if that meant anything, and I didn't ahead of this.
I told you. I just liked it. Even if it didn't mean anything, I just liked it.
Yeah, I'll get you a T-shirt for your birthday.
I told you. Yeah. But this leads directly into... from that scene, it leads directly to the dick scene.
It sure does.
It sure does. So
this comes in at I put the timer on my phone, so I think it's pretty precise, pretty close. 46 minutes and 50 seconds ish.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I tried to get it as close as possible, so it might be more like 46:30, something like that.
It's give or take like a minute or 30 seconds odd. It's within that window. You will know the minute you get into the locker room.
Yes.
And you're in a locker room situation. Patrick's on his phone and he's using Tinder.
He's got to figure out where to sleep that night because he's a poor boy.
This is how he finds places to rest. He just picks up dates and does that.
Pretty clever. It's pretty gross. It is clever. It is gross.
It is a bit gross,
but it's clever. He's an attractive man. And people in the film, as his, like, the characters complement that character's sexual prowess, right? And his body.
Yeah.
So he's going around looking good, feeling good.
According to that gay couple, though, he smells.
Yes, they did say he smells. But I assume that before he initiated any coitus with the Tinder date that he was on, that he showered. He probably used that opportunity.
I would hope so. It's he
could have shaved, but that's also how you figure out where you are in time, is if he's got 5 o'clock shadow.
Yes, yeah. If you're looking at facial hair and haircuts, that's how they've got longer hair when they're younger
shorter
and shaggier. Yeah, because definitely with Art, like he's always baby faced, and certainly Zendaya, like because that's something I do appreciate is that. I don't know if we're in the same bunch, but like I don't think like I definitely know I look slightly different, but I still look pretty much the same as I did when I was in my 20s.
I do like that it's not a huge span of time in between, but there are movies where you have 10 or 10 years in between in a film and you have different actors playing the younger characters and it's like
stupid. Yeah.
Because they do look young, but 30 like they're probably some of them are over 30 at this point anyway now, so it's fine. But I think that they did a great job with that.
At least, they did. I think it's
What
thing
was
is
jarring, though,
yes,
is when you find out that Zendaya or Tashi and Art have a daughter. That creeped me out. That was right in the beginning as well.
And the daughter's also almost as big as Art is. Because you
She's
see
got to
them in
be
the
maybe 7.
She's
or
massive.
6 or 5, maybe 5. She's pretty old.
Zendaya, at least compared to Tom Holland, is she's quite a leggy lass. She's pretty big. She's pretty tall.
Yeah.
So it's probably totally fine. But yes, they do have a child, and she looks incredibly full grown. Like she's
one of her first lines in the film. The daughter is, "Mommy, can I watch Spider-Verse?"
Yeah, don't know if I appreciate that much. I did write it down, and I had like question marks about it.
I did laugh, but then if you, it's a silly little. Nod.
It's a silly little in-joke.
It's not even an in-joke or a nod necessarily. It's like an obvious thing considering who's in the film and the fact that Amy Pascal produced all of the new Spider-Man movies and the Spider-Verse movies, and she claims to be the one that got Zendaya involved in this project in the first place.
I mean, Zendaya also has a producing credit for Challengers as well.
She sure does.
So that's fine. I mean, if you're gonna show your kid anything, those Spider-Verse movies are, like you can't really go wrong with those.
Wow, we really got off the subject of the penis scene.
I know, I just said locker room, and then it was just kind of Tinder.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, the penises in this movie are not from our main actors. They are from people that we never meet and don't get to talk to or know anything about. They're locker room boys, tennis boys.
They're different forms of players. And I guess, I mean, there's the self-deprecating one who's like kind of yelling into his locker, and the rest of them are kind of going around. I mean, one of them's Porky Pigging it for a little bit. Yeah. Kind of just walking around. But I guess like the scene itself it's weird, because it's kind of strangely chaotic, and he's kind of in the middle of it all, and he's on Tinder, and he's swiping right on gals and dudes.
Absolutely.
Because we've already seen that he's got no issue with, giving dudes a little bit of a kissy.
Yeah, I mean, he's a variable on the sexual spectrum.
He is, yes.
And that's totally awesome.
This is, I mean, you see it's multiple. It's at least two.
Several.
It's like 2 or 3. And I mean, we got to this point in the movie and we just saw the kissing scene and we didn't see any dicks. And
I knew exactly where the penises were going to be. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I knew it was the locker room scene. But when it happened, because we're in the theater, this is the first time we've seen this film. And
of course.
And just fingers crossed there's going to be a wiener in it so we can talk about this movie.
Yeah.
And it was more than we expected. But yeah, I had to slap you in the middle of it. Like, look, what's happening?
Well, I was writing stuff down because there was other stuff happening in the scene that I was writing down. And then I just started writing down dicks. But I think we have to, because of the fact that we're like watching the film for analytical and review purposes as well. I do feel like I need to watch the film again.
I'll buy this film. I'm very happy to buy it and watch it again.
I don't know if I'd want to see it in the cinema again because I don't know if I can relive the experience the way that I had it the first time that I saw it, which is kind of a shame. I feel like if it does come out on Blu-ray, then that's probably the better way for me to watch it.
We had a pretty good time.
We had a very good time, and I'm concerned about trying to recreate that time.
That was the day after 10 days of me being at the Florida Film Festival nonstop every day. And I still loved it.
I mean, yeah, but you've got an addiction, this is a healthy addiction to have at least. is that you go and watch movies.
I have a
Like,
good
that's
stamina.
fine.
I have a stamina for it.
Yeah, it's better than being addicted to smack. Like, I mean, it's much better and getting AIDS and shit. Yeah, it's much better. Like just watching movies all the time.
I do love watching movies.
I mean, I also do like watching movies. I didn't have anything to do with the film festival this year because, I work a job that just like works me to the bone.
For now.
For just now. But yeah, no, I do. I like when I get to the cinema. I hate going to the cinema, but then when I get there, I'm like, okay, I've got my beer and I'm like ready to watch a movie as long as it's good. That's my thing.
It's funny because
I'm so picky.
I don't even necessarily care if it's bad.
Well, you're just all about moving pictures. That's the thing.
I do love moving pictures, and I do.
It's like shining a laser pen at a cat and it chases it around.
It's like meditation for me. A friend of mine said that to me,
100%,
and
yes.
it really clicked for me because I like the dark room and I can focus on anything other than what's going on in my life, and my life is pretty great. Like, I'm having a great time. Sorry,
I can't believe you fucking said that.
I'm having
as
a
well.
lovely time.
We're actually doing very well.
Should we even say
Yeah.
that? Just doesn't sound good. It's just
It doesn't. No.
I'm happy. I'm a happy person having a good time. But it's nice to just. I think that's what cinema is for a lot of people. Is
Yeah.
just letting go, and you're shutting everything off. Your phone's off. You don't have it vibrating. You're just there, and that's all you have to think about. And you immerse yourself in the story. I saw some bullshit about who fucking said it. Jerry fucking Seinfeld.
Oh, of course.
Love Seinfeld. Did you see that shit today? And this is going to be in the future, but he said cinema is dead.
Yeah, that's what he said. But then he made a movie anyway, he said.
I'm like, oh, sorry that B movie wasn't the success you thought it was going to be, Jerry Seinfeld. Calm down. No one cares about your opinion. I
mean,
love Seinfeld, but that annoyed me a lot. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, I think,
I
yeah.
disagree.
I don't think it's like I need to take any stock of what Jerry Seinfeld says about the film industry.
For me, it is.
I think the film industry is and will always be a source of money for anybody. And also, if you don't like mainstream movies, there are plenty of independent movies that you can go and watch. There are so many outlets for films now. It's laughable.
Yep, we have 11 months until the next film festival.
Of course, and
ready to.
Florida Film Festival is not. You might know this already. That is not the only festival that exists. So there are plenty of opportunities to watch countless other things.
Yes.
Whether they are good or not, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
There's plenty
Support
of opportunities
your
to watch.
Local independent
Moving colors and
cinema
pictures.
and
Yes.
your local independent colors and moving pictures.
Yes.
So
you're kind of like a magpie for celluloid. I mean, that's kind of.
I love that shit. But that's also why we're together. So
It's very true. Yes, that's exactly right.
okay, so that was the penis scene.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to really add about.
Really say
the
anything
scene.
about it.
No, because like I think there's a deeper meaning and involvement in the scene. Because it comes by so fast and we're writing notes and we're doing this and we're in the cinema and we're in the dark and it's like, honestly, my notes, there's stuff that's like, I've obviously written notes on top of notes. So when I was writing a sentence, half of the sentence has another half of the sentence right on top of it.
We should post this like we did when we posted the notes that we made for
I mean, I'll even
Saltburn.
say yeah, I've definitely written on top of things. Like, I'll take a photo of one of the primary offenders, and I have no idea what the word is underneath it. I haven't got a clue. But yes, it's that sort of thing. So I would probably want to see the film completely unfiltered without me having to make notes and do all that sort of thing.
It'll be great to enjoy it. Like, really, I mean, I really enjoyed it. But to not write notes and to just because I'm sure there's stuff that we missed as well.
It's a good experience in the cinema. I think this movie in general. I think just because of the sound design and the way that it's been put together, it's an interesting piece. But certainly, yeah, it's a shame that like because we do things the way that we do them. That sometimes I feel like we
this was the
overlook
third film
things.
that we've done that's like a fresh theater film. So we did Red Rocket. We did Saltburn. So it is interesting, and I've said this already, but I'm going to repeat myself, that it's surprising that there wasn't more nudity, especially considering the fact that Josh O'Connor has gone full frontal before.
Yeah.
A lot. Yes, a lot. And we'll talk about that movie another time.
Are you talking about the sauna?
I'm going to talk about the sauna.
The cheap out.
The total bullshit cop-out sauna. Josh O'Connor, or Patrick, walks into a sauna where Art is having a nice sauna himself.
Yeah.
And he's naked.
It's actually, you know what? It's actually a really good scene.
It's really good.
Because the nudity would only add something to the beginning of the scene, because Art is referring to the fact that Patrick is basically like bottomless and he can just see his dick. And he comes in all dick swinging, basically.
Yeah, he's trying to be intimidating,
and
he points it out.
Yeah, but it's like a power reversal, and then Art throws it back on him later in the scene. I don't want to describe what happens.
Something like a tennis match, you would say?
It's just really well put together. The music's really loud, but you can always hear what they're saying.
Every tense conversation that they have is a tennis match in and of itself.
Yeah.
Back, forth, back, back, back.
Yeah.
And it's really intense.
And that scene's really good. And because of how good the scene gets, I'm like, the only issue I have with it is the fact that they refer to his dick, and then they do a sneaky little cover-uppy thing. Which
looked cheap as hell.
It looked incredibly cheap. It looked bad.
Which made me think that there is a version of this that's different.
Potentially, yes.
Because, yeah, Art could say, cover yourself up, and it's fine, and he could do that.
I mean, do you think this is going to be Luca's one of his most popular films, like certainly within the mainstream? I mean, it probably will be.
Do you think this will be more popular than Call Me by Your Name?
I think that because
I don't know.
I'd say this is far more accessible than Call Me by Your Name.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
And that's not to say, because Call Me by Your Name is pretty much perfect, but
this film did not make me cry. I will cry every single time I watch that movie.
No, but I think like at the very heart of Call Me by Your Name, like there's a sect of the audience that won't find it appealing.
Potentially.
Like, just by virtue of the fact of like the story it's telling.
Lame.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way that is.
It's beautiful.
But at least with this, like you get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you do.
So I do think that this film will be more popular than that film, just in terms of interest. I think, just because, that's my feeling. Certainly, because you just look at the audience and like the amount of people we had in the RPX theater, and that screen is massive.
Yeah.
Like just the amount of people there, and the amount of people who just like enjoyed the film, and just laughing the entire time. Because I think like the film to me, at least at points. And I was high, but we're watching it, and I was just like, is it me, or is it acting a little goofy? Like, is the film being deliberately goofy and self-referential? Like, is it being a little goofy? And I think it is a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine, because you don't want it to feel as niche as the tennis profession is as well, where it's very much a kind of upper crusty sort of profession.
At the heart of it, you have these codependent people that none of them are getting exactly what they want in their life, and they feel like they can maybe get it from somebody else. So Tashi wants the career that Art has, right? But then Art wants what Tashi has. And then what Patrick wants is what both of them have. And so they're always pushing and pulling on each other, and they're never quite satisfied. So they're always going to be tugging at each other to try and get what they want or what they feel like they deserve. Yeah. And they're willing to pull another person down. Well, maybe not. It's like I was thinking they're going to try to pull someone down to get what they want, but then eventually at the core of it, you still have a great amount of love for one another.
Yeah.
Which is adorable.
Yeah.
So...
And yeah, I don't really want to talk about the story of the film too much.
Oh, I'm done talking about the story now.
Yeah, because I think the film ends amazingly. It's got such a fantastic, satisfying ending.
I
to
almost
it.
did like my arms in the air, like a fist pump thing.
Yeah, you went a little bit crazy.
I did go.
Yeah, you did go a little bit crazy.
I had a great time. I had a great time.
The slow-mo craziness. It's like when all that stuff kicks off at the end, and it's like they're standing on like a sheet of glass.
So cool.
Yeah, and it's the weirdest thing. And basically, they just throw everything at you at that point. And it's like a film-going experience.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
That took about 8 days to shoot, that final bit of the film.
It's wild, absolutely wild, and it doesn't look out of place. I was perfectly happy with it going a bit mental.
Hell yeah!
It's like that stuff in Ambulance. It's like I wouldn't. It's like in Ambulance when they do that where Michael Bay does that drone stuff.
Oh my god!
From like drone videos he's seen online, which are completely incomprehensible. Like it's just like drone pilot like buffoonery. But he puts it in a fucking movie, and you're like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. That's kind of like the end of Challengers.
That's so weird that you say that, but I really love Ambulance. Love it.
Ambulance is damn good. It's a shame it's too long.
Long.
It's way too long, but it's pretty good.
It's a great one. It's a great one to dip in and out of, like on a Sunday afternoon when you're like cleaning or something, and then you can just kind of stand there with your hands on your hips for like 15 minutes and then go back to what you're doing.
And you get to see something pretty, and it's like, that's Jake.
Like, cool.
Yeah, there's Jake.
You get to see Jake.
Yeah, everyone's pretty in that film as well. Even the gangsters in that movie are like, they're very pretty.
I just wanted to talk about Luca's next project that I'm really excited about, which is going to be an adaptation of William S. Burroughs' short book, Queer.
Huh, interesting.
And the screenplay was written by Justin Kuritzkis, who wrote the screenplay for Challengers. Justin is also married to Celine Song, who directed Past Lives. I love it all, this weird web that they've weaved. So Daniel Craig.
I fucking love Past Lives.
Oh god.
Past Lives is great.
Past Lives made me weep, made me weak. I was a shell of a human when I left that film. But Daniel Craig in Queer, I don't know if they're going to call it Queer. We'll see what that actually is named. That's cool if they do. I'd love that.
Yeah.
He's playing the renowned counterculture author's alter ego, an outcast American expat who lives in Mexico. And he's playing in the film with Drew Starkey, who stars as a younger man with whom he becomes madly infatuated. And the film is currently shooting in Italy. So apparently this book, I haven't read these Burroughs books, but this is the post-Junkie film. So Junkie was William S. Burroughs on heroin, and this is post-heroin, is Queer.
Interesting.
So it was kind of written off for a while because of all the sexy homosexuality.
Yes.
So I'm super down for that.
Well, now that's a little bit more, I guess there are outlets for that sort of thing now that didn't really exist before. I'm into it. I'm excited. It's shooting now in Italy, so maybe we'll get to see that next year or the year after. It's going to be great. So yes, ratings. Excellent.
Go for it.
Visibility and context, is that what we're doing now?
Absolutely.
Okay, like we always do. So I'm gonna go with a 4 in that you see everything and contextually it makes sense because it's in a locker room. I just need a little bit more in terms of like what the scene's doing in in order for me to kind of make a better judgment on it. Yeah, I guess that's my thing. It's like I kind of feel a little bit lost about it.
It is kind of weird because then you think about it as a whole and you think about the sauna scene
Yeah.
and you go, ooh, I'm missing something here.
Yeah, like there's something absent. That
There
scene,
is something
yeah,
absent.
there's a little bit of absence. Yeah, but the issue is with the dick scene in general is that I think there's more to it. I didn't get it the first time round. But then if you look at the sauna scene, and there's nothing, and obviously there's references to like, you know, erect dicks and stuff like that, slightly different, but they're all covered
Boner
up.
slap.
Boner slap, smacking his erection. You know, I also think about the sauna scene and like how strong it becomes. Like, do you need that in order to improve that scene? But then when we're sitting there and we're like, yeah, well, why are you referring to it? It's like that scene in Doom Generation, where they're talking about the tattoo that he has on his penis.
Yes.
It would be far more effective at that point to like show it. Because otherwise, what you know, it's you know, for the sake of controversy, for controversy's sake, it would be like, yes, just take it the whole way, and that's kind of what I feel like in these moments as well. Is that you kind of feel like you've been a little bit cheated out of something. Certainly, when it is referred to directly within the scene itself, you know. And certainly it has been alluded to that like he's Lothario and all this sort of thing. Like it would make more sense because at the very least,
No, I don't remember any stuff.
yeah, I can't remember it. It's completely forgettable as well.
Yeah, it wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good, but like at least there,
Good luck to you, Leo Grand.
there you go.
With
At least
with Daryl McCormick.
At least with that movie, you know, they did they reference it he's a gigolo, and then you eventually get to see everything. So then it like to us, to me at least, it felt like it was a payoff. So I do feel like with this, it's a little bit of a cheap out, but I still give the visibility with the locker room scene at least a 4 because of, you know, as much as you do see. But I do think there's a little bit more to that scene than we were able to get the time to digest.
I think I wrote down 5, and I think I might just stick with it. It is that kind of honesty. You're in a locker room. There's a bunch of dudes. I hear about the locker room at the Y. We've talked about it before.
Yep.
Everyone's got their wieners out. That's a very common, natural, honest situation.
So if I appreciate that, I feel like I have PTSD from
every
going to
man
the
that's
Y.
walked into the locker room at the YMCA has PTSD. Apparently,
Yeah, it's weird.
that place is a hellscape.
Fucking hog nest.
Hog nest.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so we're in the hog nest in the locker room, and
They're coming out of the goddamn walls. Yes. Yeah, weird.
Well, that's a different thing. I mean, maybe that's a different section of the YMCA, but
yeah,
I don't want
it's like aliens, and everyone's on the wall. But like what comes out of their chests are just like dicks. You know?
I don't.
Which is kind of weird, obviously, because that's what the chest bursters were modeled on. Anyway, the aliens modeled on like big dicks.
Okay.
So
That's amazing. But I don't want the sauna scene to take away from the one that we have, even though it's hard to kind of disconnect them when you go, Josh O'Connor does not have a problem with being full frontal nude. So there has to be something that I don't know and I didn't find in my research to figure out why that's not there. It does not detract from the movie in any sort of way that you don't see his penis, but there is an issue for me, and I'm still talking about the sauna scene, where they reference his penis. He walks in, and I'm not a filmmaker. Is it like in a mid? It's not a wide. But
there
you
are
see his
very specific framing choices.
Like, it's from his mid-thigh up to his mid-back.
Yeah.
So, and you see Art's face and everything, and I go, okay, so you're framing this in such a way to where we're staring at Patrick's butt many, many, many times during that sauna scene.
Yeah.
And then he goes, cover it up. I go, okay, no. Like, there's something missing there. But in terms of the actual penis scene, I can still give it a 5. There's a lot of them. It's happening. It makes total sense for it. And it's very, very funny that he's also on Tinder at the same time, like swiping literally every man and woman that comes across his screen.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me think, like, could one of these guys take you to his hotel? Maybe. But he didn't. He picked somebody else.
Yeah.
So, would you like to go for the film?
Yeah, I gave it 5 stars.
Me too.
And I'm not going to explain why.
I think
you
the
just need to go
whole
see it.
hour that we've talked about this film kind of explains why.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And I love when we both love a movie. Luca, I'm a big fan of his, and I'm a big fan of this movie.
Yeah.
So, game, set, Tashi.
A racket and a dick. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I hope everyone goes to see this at the cinema. I hope you go bring and buy churros and hot dogs and bananas and have a big glass of whiskey and just enjoy being a little bit turned on during this film.
Absolutely.
Bring your family.
Yeah,
Bring your mom.
Bring your kids.
Bring your
yeah,
kids.
do whatever. Do whatever you need to do in order to see the movie.
And have a good time.
Yeah, there you go.
Coming to you from Phil's Tire Town, I have been Laura.
Yeah. I'm Ryan. Yes. Why the fuck did I forget that? Yeah, I'm Ryan.
Grand Slam.
That's right.
Match point.
Are you ready for the Grand
Tennis
Slam?
balls.
Yeah.
Balls in my face.
Double fault.
Yeah. Yep. Bye-bye.
Ace.